I'm very disappointed with the Attorney General, but we will see what happens. Time will tell.
Turmoil in the Trump administration as the president faces down an ongoing Russia investigation and a heated healthcare debate. Hello, I'm Owen in Washington, D.C., and this is The Heat. Attacking the Attorney General, U.S. President Donald Trump took to Twitter on Tuesday to further criticize the U.S. Attorney General Jeff Sessions. This while Trump's son-in-law and senior advisor Jared Kushner speaks to lawmakers about possible Russian collusion. Collusion he denies, and the Senate's healthcare law will move forward. Here to help us break it down, CGTN's Owen Fairclough is at the White House. And Owen, it's still early in the week, but it's been a busy one for President Trump. What's leading to all this discord in the White House and the administration?
I think you're describing a typical week in the Trump administration there, Anand, but this does have the whiff of an endgame, certainly for Jeff Sessions, the most senior lawmaker in the United States, the Attorney General, one of the most loyal servants for Donald Trump, the first senator to endorse him as a candidate way back when most other people thought Donald Trump would never, ever stand a chance of becoming US president. He's become the most senior lawmaker, but perhaps the most pilloried man in the Trump administration. You mentioned those tweets from Donald Trump earlier this week, publicly humiliating his Attorney General. Trump went a step further today. He was in the White House, outside the White House, talking with the Lebanese Prime Minister, and again repeated that public humiliation of Sessions, saying, as we heard there, he's very disappointed with him, and then pretty much leaving him dangling by saying time will tell in terms of what will happen to Jeff Sessions. Why is all of this happening? Well, you remember when this whole Russia hacking inquiry started, Jeff Sessions was the man who had to recuse himself from the investigation into allegations of collusion with the Russian authorities, that being Donald Trump's campaign team allegedly colluding with Russian officials to effectively rig last year's US presidential election in Trump's favor. Now, Sessions had to recuse himself because of a Russian conflict of interest. And that pretty much set the ball rolling, really, with this inquiry, with the appointment of a special prosecutor who's independent of Jeff Sessions. That's been a real thorn in the side of Donald Trump, and we've really seen that exposed in these last few days with these public criticisms of Jeff Sessions. For what it's worth, Jeff Sessions said last week he will stay for as long as it's appropriate, but there are many close to the Trump administration wondering just how long he will put up with this kind of criticism and how long he will remain in post. Anand.
Owen, three of Trump's top advisors had meetings with US lawmakers this week to discuss possible Russian collusion. What is the latest on this investigation?
Yeah, it's all becoming very close and certainly a family affair. We've seen Donald Trump's son-in-law, Jared Kushner. He's a senior advisor to Donald Trump. 2 successive days now he's spent being grilled by lawmakers on Capitol Hill. They're really focusing, these lawmakers, and I should say this is an investigation parallel to the judicial investigation into collusion. These lawmakers are really interested in a key meeting that we heard about recently with a Russian lawyer who ostensibly was offering some opposition research, as Donald Trump's son called it, essentially information to try and smear Trump's election opponent Hillary Clinton in those elections. Now, present at that meeting was Jared Kushner, Donald Trump's eldest son, and his former campaign manager. Kushner has spent 2 sessions with these lawmakers talking about this meeting particularly, and of course his contacts with Russian officials. Trump's eldest son is due to testify on Wednesday, and the former campaign manager, Paul Manafort, has just talked to them. He was going to be subpoenaed by one of these committees, but eventually agreed to talk to them in private. What they're trying to get to, these lawmakers, is exactly the nature of these relations between Russian officials who are accused of trying to swing the US presidential election and Trump's transition team. It's worth pointing out Donald Trump has said there's no evidence of any collusion and that nobody in his team colluded with any Russian authorities or Russian officials. And Vladimir Putin, the Russian president, has also repeatedly said that Russia was not involved in hacking last year's presidential election. Anand.
Thanks, Owen. That's CGTN's Owen Fairclough reporting from the White House.